Hey guys, KRX70 here with another installment to Retro Beyblade Reviews. This time I'll be looking at Dranzer G from Beyblade G Revolution. Dranzer G, or Dranzer Gigs, is the fifth incarnation of the Dranzer Beyblade, and the first one to implement the engine gear. As you can see, we got the Beyblade here, and this new piece. This is the Turbo Winder. This is a piece that's essential to any Beyblade that comes with an engine gear. I'll go over it later. Of course, it did include a launcher and ripcord, but as I don't remember which one it came with because they were really randomized, and it wasn't any indicator of what kind of color launcher and ripcord came with a Beyblade back in the day. I'll just be using these instead. Well, instead of this, I'll be using this because it's a better ripcord because it's longer. Anyway, here's the Beyblade itself. You got the top, the side, and the bottom. Like Dranzer V, this one stood the test of time by having all its stickers remain intact. So now to take it apart, remove the attack ring, then take off the weight disc. Remove the core. Then pop out the bit chip. Just like so. Then to line them all up. And moving this out of the way. So now here we have the parts. We once again have a bit chip depicting Dranzer the Phoenix with a different pose than it had last time. And you have its attack ring, which is stylized a little bit similarly to the Dranzer S attack ring, but once again it's oriented for a better attack when it's used with a right spin Beyblade. We can see a couple of red markings here that read Dranzer G and two green stickers that read G, as well as once again two phoenix heads with yellow eyes. Have the weight disc, which is pretty standard, as can be told by this and the last two reviews. Dranzer Beyblades tended to use these smaller weight discs so that they could better make use of the size of the attack rings, so that they could have as much exposed parts to actually hit. Because for some Beyblades, a wide attack ring can be bad because it'll kind of take away from the power that the attack ring can potentially dish out. You have the blade base, which as you can see has some springs and a couple of levers to it, which I'll go over later. Has four stickers on these sides and 4 stickers here that read Dranzer G, as well as this hole through the middle. Then finally, we have the new piece, the engine gear. This is by far the most complex spin gear that was ever made for a Beyblade. First of all, unlike the Magnacore and original spin gears, this one does not have to be assembled whatsoever. It's already pre-built. Secondly, what this is essentially it's basically a bunch of gears put together for the sake of winding up and releasing. And that's just a little bit of what it can do. This thing is really a little complex piece of machinery. And there are actually a variety of engine gears. Specifically, the metal part at the bottom has some different versions. And really what kind you get depends on what Beyblade you buy it with. And each of these has a different tip, which does give a different effect in terms of how they move. And in terms of things, the engine gear also replaces the way that the blade base served as the axis that Beyblade's spun on, because this one has a tip that just goes right through here. Now reassemble it. Okay, just get things back into place. Now, for the engine gear system, they changed things up. In that instead of having two detachable clips that you have to detach and reattach, you have these kind of sliding clips that you'd unhook, then place the engine gear into the slot, like so, then re-secure the clips by kind of folding them over the sides of the engine gear to secure it in place. Now, what the engine gear is designed to do is that through some different methods, it is designed, quite simply, to give a boost of spin power during the battle. And there are a variety of ways that does that. But first, just for comparison, I'll do a standard launch without any wind-up. So we've got my launcher and ripcord. Just set up. Bring in the base stadium. Secure it on like that. And let's rip. As you can see, it's got a nice movement pattern there. Once again, like the past Dranzers, it doesn't stay in place too much, and it has a nice movement pattern where it, at first, circles the base stadium, but as it loses spin power, it starts to go into the center of the base stadium. And so now I can show off what the engine gear does. So this is one kind of clutch called the final clutch or mid clutch. Oh, final clutch or hit clutch. Sorry. Now the way this works is you pull out these two tabs, then you take your turbo winder, insert it into these two grooves, then wind it in the direction that the sticker on indicates. In this case, clockwise. Just keep winding it until you hear a nice big click, like that. Now the way this works is that this will release either when it's made strong contact with another Beyblade, or as it's starting to get to the bottom end of its spin power. So just setting up once again. Moving the base stadium into place. And let rip. Now this is the kind where you kind of have to wait a little bit if you're just doing a launch by itself. And you'll know when it happens because it will move a little bit more. It'll move a bit more wildly in terms of moving on its own. And just wait for it. It'll be coming. Almost there. Maybe not. And there we go. Like I said, it is meant to give a kind of a final boost of spin energy, or spin power, as it approaches the end of a battle. And just to give an idea of how this would be a hit release, I'll be using Dranzer V to show that off. And just open up the clips, wind it up again, Set up the launcher. And let it. Now for setting up Dranzer V. Let it. And as you can hear, just from impact, that set off the engine gear. So there's that. Now, I do have other Beyblades with the other kinds of clutches, so I will be able to show those off in future reviews. But for now, this is kind of, a basic idea. This is to give a sense of just how the engine gear system works. And once again, it does show just how Beyblades have changed over time. So just gonna set this back on. Moving the camera a little bit. And there we go. Alright, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos. And for now, this is KRX50, writing off.